Okay, hi everybody. I'm just going to show you some basic ways to use this. Now, if my thumbs are hurting, I'm a massage therapist. I'm just going to use the spot because it goes deep and it goes quick. And I'm going to put my hand on it, on my thumb and my hand. I also have a type of itis. It begins with an R. I know I'm not supposed to say it, but I personally suffer from rheumatoid arthritis. We're not supposed to use disease because BEMER is not disease specific, but it keeps my at bay. So this is the disease that affects the joints. Okay, so it's really helpful for those type issues. I know I wasn't supposed to say that. Oh, slap me on the wrist. Okay, so that's what I would use that for. Okay. Also, I like to use the spot on my neck, but I don't ever use the plus because it's too close to the head if I use it on the neck. But if I've got a neck issue, I am going to go around the neck with this. People go, oh my gosh, it's just so much easier to wrap this around the neck. It is easier, but it's going to take longer than this. Somehow this just goes deeper, it penetrates very quickly, where this one takes a little bit more time. They're both, I also want to say the attachments are 3 times more powerful than the mat. So they do work very quickly, okay, for localized issue. You don't want to have the higher frequency on a systemic application. So that's why the attachments are more powerful, 3 times more powerful, but they're only for localized issues, okay. So I use this on my neck. It's also, like I said, I would use it on my glutes. Here, I actually would probably use more of a sweatpants, so I could actually put it down my pants and move it around my glutes here. If you've got low back issues, definitely make sure your bony landmark, feel the top of your hip bone. So your glute medius is going to go right around your hip bone. It's also going to come a little bit around the front. Those are your anterior fibers. So a lot of times people will just put it right around the back like this. You want to make sure if you have a little bit of weight on you and you can't have it wrap around on both sides, to put a little bit on this side, then move it around and do a little bit on this side so that it does get those anterior fibers on the glute medius. Because for trigger point therapy, these side trigger points actually refer to the sacrum, which is the middle of your low back. So you want to make sure you get those. Your QL, which is the muscle between your hip bone and your 12th rib, is up here. So you want to get your QL, which is referring into your glutes, and you want to get your glutes, which is referring into your QL. So I would put the pad here or here. Now, if you have hip flexor issues, and we'll go through this in greater detail later, that's your iliopsoas. It's the deepest anterior muscle. I know I'm going into detail. I'm a massage therapist, sorry. But on your belly button, it looks ridiculous that you would be using this to treat your back. But I'm telling you, if your psoas is sore, which affects you on your back, and we're going to look at Janet Terval's trigger point charts in subsequent videos so you can see what I'm saying. You're just going to have to trust me for now. So that's one, and then on your hip bone here, that's ilio, and also on your hip bone here. So this glute medius, it could also be down here in glute minimus as well as glute maximus. But your QLs, those are the main areas for low back pain. So I'm just mentioning that for low back. For ankle pain, I have my shoes on right now, but my mother had a lot of issues in low back. I would just do that and wrap this around the foot without the shoes. Okay, if you can see that, once again, I'm just going to do it again. Around the ankle, cross over, down and under. If your feet are hurting, there we go. If your feet are hurting, I would just wrap this around the foot as best you can. I'm in an awkward position, and my girlfriend that does yoga is standing right here. She could do all this on one leg easily. Okay, so you're going to wrap that all the way around the foot if you have foot issues. Shoulder issues, that's a whole nother ball game, and I'm gonna need to probably adjust. Oh no, I was gonna say adjust the camera, but I don't. Okay, so one way to do shoulder is just over the top of the shoulder. This is great because it's getting the top muscle here, the supraspinatus. It's getting the upper trap. It's getting your pec, minor and major. It's also getting your scapula, which is your infraspinatus. But it doesn't go deep, it's going down over, but it's still doing that on one side. If you've got it on both sides, sometimes when I'm lying in bed, I'll just put it this way while I'm lying in bed. So I'm actually getting both scapulas in the back of my, on my back. And then, but the infraspinatus, I'm telling you, it is a tough muscle. So many times I need the spot, and I'll put the spot on the scapula there, on the lower part of the scapula, and then I just lean on it gently because it might go into that error message. If it does, you just have to push OK and start it again because it'll crimp it. So you just want to lean it right there and let it really get that infraspinatus. So, and we're going to talk about trigger point patterns, but that goes all the way down, usually into the deltoid. So most people will wrap the deltoid or down the arm. It's actually coming from different points on your scapula and all through your rotator cuff. So if you don't know that, you know, you'll wrap the source or the place where the pain is, but it's referred pain. It's coming from another area of the body. So we're going to look at all that going forward. But that's just a few places that are probably the most common areas that people like to treat locally. So we've done head, gut, foot, ankle. We looked a little bit at the hips, low back, neck, and shoulder. So there we go. Thank you so much.